Welcome back to another fun-filled show. I'm your host. He is Blanchard, aka Free Blanche, aka Blanstradamus, aka Blanchy Kruger. And today's title is Real Current Events with a special guest, Mollie Engelhart, or Mollie Angelhart. I call her Mollie, the Queen of Farm. But I want y'all to get ready for a great show. I'm wearing her T-shirt, Raw Milk, the Real White Privilege. If you are white and you wear this shirt, you'll probably be attacked. If you are black and you wear this shirt, you will also probably be attacked. But anyway, without further ado, let's bring our guest up, Mollie.
That was not a good sales pitch for my shirt. I don't feel like we're selling out on the website tonight. I have worn this shirt many times and never gotten attacked, but I'm pretty good at arguing.
Yeah.
And most people just don't know that raw milk is illegal in most states, in 20-something states. And so it is literally real white privilege because it's white and it's a privilege if you can get it.
It's a great play on words, great pun, great joke. I don't think most people will get it though. I think most folks would just be like, "Oh, white people got." Go ahead.
Have you ever worn it in public?
Nah, I ain't worn it yet. Nah.
You're scared.
Nah, I haven't worn it yet. But I might wear it this weekend though.
Okay, I want feedback. I want to know how it goes.
Wear it to a black.
You to wear it to like a barbecue or like you got to wear it where there's gonna be a lot of people.
Should I wear a lot of black people there?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So you all, Mollie hit me up today, and I didn't know that there's no such thing as male cows.
That is not true.
I just learned today they're either steers or bulls. They're not male cows, so I didn't know. But she told me something that was very crazy. And that the bulls or the steers were lactating, and when she sent it in the text, I was like, "What is she talking about?" I was like, "I said male cows can't lactate," and she was like, "Yes, they can." And so I'm gonna let her talk about it, but I want to play your video first, Mollie. Is that okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right.
Turns out to be real. So this is crazy. Are you eating transgender cows? And the answer is probably yes if you eat beef, because I found this study. This gentleman gave it to me, and I didn't believe him, looked it up.
Let me stop real quick. I'm going to rewind it. Did y'all hear what she just said? Think about how insane this sounds, but it's actually true.
No, I mean, this guy walks up to me at a conference I spoke on, and he walks up to me, wants to talk cattle. This is like a normal thing. You're at a conference and the one other person in a room with the cowboy hat wants to come talk to you. Okay, great. And he was like, what's the craziest thing about cattle? And I'm like, I don't know, that 85% of them are slaughtered by 4 companies. We have no options, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, nope, it's that up to 20% of the males are lactating at the time of harvest. And I'm like, yeah, right. Like, I'm a conspiracy theorist. I am down the rabbit hole. Me and Blanche talk once a week at least. We're down the rabbit hole, right? But I raise cattle. I've never seen a boy, whether a steer, a castrated male is a steer, or a bull. I've never even seen a girl cow that isn't about to give birth or just gave birth have milk in her breast. It's not a thing. And this study showed that 54%, and I broke the story yesterday. It's like nowhere on the internet. This is brand new. And all these people are reaching out, like Google and Grok are saying this isn't true. And then I put in your study, the study, and then it has to admit that it is true. So I just broke the story yesterday that up to 20% of male cows and up to 54% of female cows that have not had a baby, these are cows that are meant to become meat, they are not milk cows, are lactating at the time of harvest. And I assert it is because we are implanting them with hormones to make them feed more efficiently. Well, you ever seen a girl go on birth control? She be converting some feed efficiently. Chunker munker right away. I was a chunky monkey on birth control from 15 to 20 something. I was converting my feed very efficiently. we have to really think about this. We are transgendering our cows before we eat them. And we have to let this sink in. We can't just put it out there and be like, you know what? I don't want to think about it. This is too, this. I know it feels like that. Everything, our clothes are making us sick. Our water is making us sick. But unless we, the people, look across at each other and stop fighting like, oh my God, there was microaggressions, we're going to just die as a whole race because we're literally being poisoned at mass. Of course, men aren't willing to stand up. Their cows they're eating have so much estrogen in them that they're lactating. So my message is we got to stop fighting with each other and we got to look up. And even like, let's use Charlie Kirk thing for whichever side you fall on that right now. I open my Twitter feed. It is 50, 60, 70% Charlie Kirk. And how much of our energy is going into that? And I think it's good. People are working together, blah, blah. There's some good parts of it. But how many hours of our life that we could be using that energy to fix our food system, to stop dying, having our kids get cancer, autism is at record rates. Like we need to stop arguing with each other and we need to stand up together, we the people, against the efficiencies that are making us so efficient. They're going to kill us. We're going to die of efficiency.
Mollie, Freedom Dawn says, we're not even eating cows or beef. We're eating human meat. Let's just get real.
I don't know that to be true. I certainly am not. I grow all my own food and I don't have any evidence of that. But if I thought that was true, I certainly would not. I don't even drink city water because all the aborted babies that are being peed out into the toilets from day after pills. So I certainly, because I think that is some cannibalism out there happening. So I certainly would not be eating any meat that I think has humans in it. And if you are, I recommend you know your farmer, shake their hand. And that is not a compromise I'd be willing to make. That's for sure.
All right, let me play the video real quick and then I'll let you jump into it.
So this is crazy. Are you eating transgender cows? And the answer is probably yes if you eat beef, because I found this study. This gentleman gave it to me and I didn't believe him, looked it up. Turns out to be real, that 100,000 carcasses were examined. I was wrong. Over 33 slaughterhouse floors.
You say what?
I just want to say that it's 24,000 carcasses in the study. I said 100,000. I was wrong. It's 24,000 carcasses in the study over 33 slaughterhouses.
Okay.
But I said 100,000.
That's a good sample size, though. 24,000 is a good sample size.
Oh, yeah. It's not like 5 cows.
Right.
100,000 carcasses were examined over 33 slaughterhouse floors, and the male cows were lactating. So these are steers. Steers is a male cow that has been castrated, was lactating at 20%, 19 and change for cows that had some dairy cross in them. So that's when it's a beef father on a dairy mother, and ones that they called native, so all Angus or all Hereford or all 14 point something percent are lactating. So I have a theory on why this is happening and what is really going on. My theory is that it is the hormones, that we are giving cows large quantities of estrogen and progesterone and other hormones to make them gain weight. And this has made them very, very efficient. They are able to gain much more weight on much less feed. And so again, we are trading our efficiency for our own health. My question is, what is the downstream effects of eating male cows that have so much hormones in them that they are lactating? Now, Cargill and Texas A&M that did this study are saying that it's because of fat, that estrogen is coming because these cows are so fat at the time of harvest. I would say I'm going to call no on that, but I think that maybe it is that, but we need to study this. This is not okay that this is in our food, and there's got to be downstream effects. Now, let's take it one step further. Heifers, if everybody doesn't know what a heifer is, it's an unbred female that are being harvested. The ones that are half dairy cows, half beef cows, 54% are lactating. Cows are not supposed to lactate, just like I'm not supposed to lactate if I'm not having a baby. This is crazy. So we are putting so much estrogen into these cows to get them to gain weight that we are making males lactate and unbred females that have not had a baby, to be lactating. And then we are eating this food, we are feeding it to our children. What is the downstream effect? So I wrote 2 articles, one's with Epoch Times, and that is like the breakdown for the average person to understand what's going on. And then this one right here for Acres USA, which is for farmers to understand what is going on and how farmers can move forward with this.
But Mollie, you could imagine that the industry, the beef industry, would push back against this, right?
They're going to. We're just waiting. Nobody's picked it up. Literally, I reached out to all my influencer friends today and was like, yo, we need to get, before they take these, they're going to call. We had a whole conversation yesterday. Like, they're going to probably call and try to get these publications to take it down. We're talking about, he's saying fat is estrogenic. Yeah. Okay. But just question, how many fat dudes do you know that are having milk come out of their breasts? Their nipples. Like, how many? And if you keep going, I show a picture of the milk. We're not talking about like a little drop of milk. We're not talking about a little discharge. We're talking about milk with fat, butter fat, and lactose and protein and water. And it has all the percentages on the picture that if you keep watching that video. Yes, fat is estrogenic. We've all seen man boobs on a dude. I've not seen dudes, unless they're taking cross-sex hormones, be able to breastfeed their babies. I just haven't seen it. If y'all have seen some fat dudes out there that are breastfeeding their babies just from being fat, I want to know what they're eating. I think they're eating a lot of food that's been sprayed with Roundup. I mean, here's the thing. For sure, it's probably combination, because Roundup, or glyphosate, as I like to call it, is also estrogenic. High amounts of soy is estrogenic. So I'm just going to say, maybe that you should see the comments on this video. There's a person on the other video with Ann talking about, oh yeah, my male goats, this happens all the time. We have to milk off the buck, which is a male goat for everybody. It's not a farmer. So it doesn't get mastitis. And I'm like, if I was a farmer, which I am, and I had a buck, which I do, and he started to get mastitis because he had milk, I'd be like, what am I doing wrong that a male goat has? So apparently other people know that this is happening. Another person is like, oh, I have sheep, and when they're on an all soy diet, this happens to male sheep. And I'm like, so other people know it's happening. It's just not been reported on at all. But in the comments, you can look on the comments on Instagram, and people are like, oh yeah, another lady said, oh, my horse was being bred at a raspberry farm, and they spray Roundup between all the rows of the raspberries so that no weeds grow up. And my horse was 17 years old. She's never had a baby. She just started lactating. And the lady was like, oh yeah, it's about 50% of the horses that we board here that are females are lactating. And the woman's like, I've had this horse 17 years. It's never had breast milk. Something is environmentally wrong at this place. And she moved it to another place, and it's never lactated again. So people know out there some pieces of this, but this needs to be a crowdsourced investigation, the same way we're crowdsourcing the investigation of Charlie Kirk. We need to crowdsource the investigation of why are our cows transgender. Like, this cannot just be something that we let them sweep under the rug and act like, yeah, I mean, a little milk coming out of a boy here or there is no big deal. 1 in 5, 1 in 6. It's not everybody. That's crazy.
But realistically, though, if these male animals produce that much estrogen in the wild, they wouldn't make it. They wouldn't survive because they wouldn't have the same instinct. So
if you got so
natural, they wouldn't be able to survive in the wild. What'd you say?
If you got so fat,
That's what I'm saying. Like, they wouldn't be able to
the
survive. Like,
wild.
even their aggression would probably change. I mean, everything. Like
Yeah.
their desire to mate would probably change. Like a lot of things would happen.
Unrelated to this, we stopped castrating our cows about a year and a half ago. And we had castrated some, not castrated some, but before that, and then did some side-by-side tests to see if people really could taste the testosterone in the meat. And nobody could taste it. It was a lie. I even tricked my dad and he fell for it. I was like, this is the one with the one. And this is, oh yeah, I can taste it. And I was like, just kidding. You're eating the one with the testosterone. So I don't think you can taste it unless someone tells you that you should be able to taste it. So we stopped castrating because I actually think, and I didn't even think about these ear tag hormones because we don't do this kind of farming. But I was saying like men and women alike are meant to eat meat that is the way God designed it, which is with balls. Just for the record, God made men with balls. And so I decided that we shouldn't be messing with that. Like anything that is infertile is less healthy or vital than something that is not fertile. And so we have stopped castrating our pigs. We've stopped castrating our goats. We're not castrating anymore.
Kind of like seedless fruit, right?
Yeah, I don't think seedless fruit is good for you. And my husband, I don't eat the balls, but my husband always slices the balls of like sheeps and goats, and like the dudes love it. It's like a drug. Like when they eat, they're all like for like 24 hours, they feel all like they could conquer the world. Well, I think men need a little bit of that. I can conquer the world. They don't need, I can breastfeed my child in every meal. I think they need a little, I can conquer the world in every meal.
Pause, but yeah. Maybe try that, fellas. Sheep, goat nuts, sheep nuts.
It's called, it has a name, Rocky Mountain oysters. It's like not an
okay, yeah, Rocky Mountain. You know, remember that show Fear Factor? And they would eat they would eat that kind of stuff.
They was probably couldn't sleep that night and was like, where's my wife? I need to fuck somebody. But yeah, that's probably true.
So we have a comment here. Estrogen and cortisol suppresses androgens. I don't know why I can't say that. Androgens. If the bull is castrated, he's very vulnerable to estrogens. Estrogen is somewhat of a carcinogen.
Well, so
carcinogen. I'm sorry, carcinogen.
So, well, there's three different. Excuse me, I spit. 3 different kinds of estrogen in these ear tags. So let me explain the ear tags. The ear tag is you can only give it to a cow every 6 months, and it is a long-lasting, slow-release hormone that helps the cow gain weight faster. And it is progesterone, estrogen, and another thing that starts with a Z, and they're hormones that help you gain weight. And essentially, they're all female hormones.
Kelvin says they will feminize the entire male population before they allow you to cut into their profits. More meat sold, less male aggression towards power, win-win.
Yeah, it is a win-win, but we have to the people have to say no. My husband's like annoyed. He's mad that I'm even breaking the story. It's like, how is this going to help our family? You're just bringing drama. You're going up against the big 4 Packers. And I'm like, how can we not tell the world that every bite of meat, that 90% of the cattle that are in the system are getting these ear tags with estrogen in them?
Well,
we have to speak up.
Yeah, and I mean, how can I say this? It's
going to be like people are dumb. I can always
I want to say this. I want to say that the path that you all have embarked on is not for the squeamish. And it's just it is what it is. Like, if you all choose to tell the truth, this is the consequence. It is what it is. Like, you're constantly going to be going against somebody who's telling the truth. And it is what it is.
But if we have nothing else to do but tell the truth, that is our most important thing that we can do in this world. Every single one of us is a combination of the conversations that they have in their community. Like who Blanchard is on some little level is impacted by the conversations that he has with me, that he has with you all, that he has with Chad, that he has all of those conversations form him as a person and all the conversations I have. And if we just keep being robots, blah, blah, blahing talking points, then we're not a part of the solution. I think the only power that we have is to tell the truth.
I agree. I kind of, it's reminiscent of Mel Gibson and Braveheart when they were cutting him up on the table, and he yelled out freedom. Hope we don't get that bad. But let's go back to your video. Hold on.
This is crazy, and I think that we need to demand that there's more investigation done. We need to demand that we look into this deeper. So here is part of the stats from the study. So you can see here female cows and male cows that are lactating on the bottom. You can also see the composite of the milk on the top right here. So the male milk and the female milk. So we're not just talking about mammary gland development. We're literally talking about full on milk with lactose and all the stuff. You can look at it right there. I'm going to post this whole poster in my...
What you say?
The two vials on the side, that's the milk, the male milk and the female milk on the side. And then if you zoom in, those are showing the numbers of like how much lactose, how much protein, how much fat is in the male milk versus the female milk. And I sent you the whole poster so you can put it up if you want, but finish this and then I'll show you on the... But on the bottom of the poster, they're basically saying it's a problem that the cows, not that they're making milk because it's a milk, it's a problem because it's making the condition of the carcass not as good. Like ultimately they're putting some of their fat into milk and not making it into meat. And so this is a downside. The unforeseen consequences are that some of the cows are having milk, which is taking away some of our profits because we need it to be meat on the carcass, and the carcass condition is not as good when they're lactating. That's what they're concerned about here in this poster.
Okay.
My stories. And here you can see the mammary glands at slaughter that are filled with milk on a male cow. And then on the bottom there, you can see that it's saying that it's causing the male cows to not have as good condition as they should have, and it's impacting body condition. So this is what's happening in our food system. We need to do something about it.
Remove this. Let me put this one up right here.
So that's the actual mammary glands. I don't know how if people can see that, but that's the mammary glands, and he's showing it. And then right there's the milk and the composites of the milk right there. And you can see this is from the Cargill study. Cargill is one of the 4 big packers. I don't know if people know that 85% of meat is packed by 4 big companies, and this is one of the biggest, Cargill. And this was 24, I know I said 100,000, 24,000 cattle, and then in 33 different facilities. So it's not like, oh, this one feedlot is having this problem of lactating cows. They went to 33 different places and took carcasses from all of them.
So I guess I guess my question would be, how do I get off of this? I guess my question would be, would this affect everything that ate these animals? So like, let's just say buzzards, for instance, that would eat a carcass. I would be hypothesizing like I found this study by the grace of God or by random chance, whatever you want to believe. And I'm putting this out, but they didn't even put this study out. And so they've definitely not done the follow-up studies to like, what is the downstream effect? I assert they don't want to put this study out because they don't want to have to look at what the downstream effect is. But we know if we go back to the
90s and the RBH, like dairy that was RBH, whatever free, like not whatever that hormone they were giving to dairy cows was having downstream effects in humans. And so this idea that we can give mass amounts of estrogen to beef, and then once it's killed and it's cut up into little pieces and is on our plate, that estrogen goes away, seems very unlikely. And you can even look in the study, and if you read these articles, they're saying that there's high levels of estrogen and the other hormones that are in the ear tags in the cow's bloodstream at the time of slaughter. So I think that we can reasonably assert that if you're eating a bunch of estrogen that is synthetically added to your meat, that there is an impact. And I mean, I feel like we've talked about this on your show before. There was a guy who just stopped wearing synthetic clothes, just switched all his clothes to cotton, and his testosterone went up 250 points. So if the clothes we're wearing on the outside of our body, just rubbing on our skin, could make your testosterone go up 250 points to switch from synthetic to cotton. We've talked about fragrances and colognes lowering people's testosterone, soaps, plug-ins in your house, all these things lowering your testosterone. Those are all like outer. So eating it, we're going to have to assume that there's a huge endocrine spike in your body of female hormones, which is what they're using to make the men gain weight. Well, to make both of them gain weight, male and female.
And I would be curious, I guess I'm wondering if we get beef from a female cow and a mare, we get beef from
heifers and steers.
Okay. Heifers and steers are the women.
Steers are the men, heifers are females that are not having babies. So once a cow has a baby, it's called a cow. Before it ever has a baby, it's called a heifer. And so like when someone's like talking shit about a young woman, they're like, that fucking heifer.
Oh, the heifer, okay.
From an unbred cow.
Okay, so is there a difference in the meat between the heifer and the steer?
No, it's just the carcass weights are going to be lower on female cows because there's a limit to how much you can make a female cow. Like they're just not as big framed, quite as big framed.
I guess what I'm saying is like, okay, is there less protein in the
No.
Okay.
I assume that there's more testosterone in the male meat, but at this point, I don't know. But they cut off the balls, and like that person said, by making them steers, by cutting off the balls, they're susceptible to other hormones, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It says right in that study that intact males there's 0% of lactating in intact males. So that's men bulls with balls. So that's also, it's unlikely that a bull is getting those feed the hormones to make them gain weight, because the bull was likely used to impregnate cows and then had no use anymore. So they got sold into the feedlot system and they were already big. So that it's unlikely that, but at any rate, that's also anecdotal. We don't know. What needs to happen is we need to take 1,000 cows that have the implants in their ears, 1,000 cows without implants in their ears, 1,000 cows with implants that only eat grass, and 1,000 cows with the implants that eat at the feedlot like grain, and then 1,000 cows that just eat grain and 1,000 cows that just eat grass, and make the math. Like right now, I'm just making up some combination of these bad things we're doing, but there's so much bad things in animal agriculture. But I'm leaning towards the ear tags because that's high levels of hormones. But this seems like a fairly new problem, and we've been using ear tags and we've been using hormone injections for weight gain for more than 20 years. And so it stands to reason that we're giving higher doses, or there's some combination of other things that we're doing. But something is causing males to make milk, and that's not normal. And so we need to look into it. To me, that's the bottom line. Male cows don't make milk. Males, nothing makes milk. So if they start to make milk, something is wrong and we need to investigate.
it's kind of like when you know, after the shots rolled out and they said that sudden death syndrome was normal. Like it just was just a common thing, like people just dying.
Oh yeah,
It's normal. It's normal.
it's normal. Like
Yeah.
my friends just like husbands dying and at young age. Normal. It's normal.
It's normal. It's just it's always been like this. It's crazy.
Literally, I never even heard of myocarditis, and now I know like 4 or 5 people with it.
Me neither. The insanity of it is I didn't hear about it either. And then it's like it's a common thing now. It's crazy.
Or what about Bell's palsy? I'd never heard about Bell's palsy.
Never heard. And guess what?
4 people with Bell's palsy. I was at this event this weekend, and I swear it looked like half, no, not half, but 3 other people that were there that were speakers had like and they had obviously done good physical therapy and it wasn't that noticeable. But I was like, is everybody stroking out around here? It's like, seems weird. But that is like, I didn't know about Bell's palsy. And I remember the guy that was at my restaurant in Culver City, the valet guy, he got Bell's palsy and he was like this. And I said, I'm so sorry. And he's like, yeah. And I said, what is it from? And I already in my mind know what it's from. And he's like, they said stress. And I was like, really? When did you get the COVID vaccine? And he was like, oh, 3 weeks ago. And I said, when did you get the Bell's palsy? And he was like, it was crazy, like 3 days later. Yeah.
Yeah, people are, I don't want to say it. I won't say it. But hold on, let's so Molly, do you think people actually know about what you're studying and they're just not saying anything because they want it to take place?
Oh, I mean, some people know about it, like that or did the study. But I called cattle.
No. What I'm saying is, you think like some higher up people, this is by design, or is this just a byproduct of just what they're doing?
It could be by design. There's some weird echo. I don't know if you know that, but there's a weird
on me.
Yeah. No, on me. I can hear me coming twice.
I don't know why. I can't hear it. Go ahead.
Okay. I don't know. I always think about this with conspiracy theories. Like, is it some big plot, or is it just human beings trying desperately to go around and round, make more money, go against God's design? And it's always just like, I'm going to get. Like, I'm going to be the most efficient and we're just going to go. I don't know. This could easily have just be a result of people trying so hard to be efficient, to make money, to get to profitability.
So I guess my question is, do you think so once this becomes public, do you think they're going to stop doing it or they just ramp it up?
No,
because I guess because let's say you are the whistleblower for this whole thing, you like bust lid open off this thing, and they do a study and it says that this meat could actually be lowering estrogen, lowering testosterone in men, but they also don't want people to eat beef, right? Isn't there like a push for people to not eat beef? So wouldn't this be like a reason? Huh?
I thought about that because you should see all the vegans today. We told you shouldn't have stopped being vegan. But the answer is, people don't like the answer. The answer is we can't keep going on this path of laziness where everybody just gets to sit in their house and Instacart their food and Uber Eats and drive through. That life is going to cause male cows. Like, the truth is that life is going to cause male cows to lactate, apparently. And nobody wants to, I'm not even saying do the work like I am, like ranching. Nobody even wants to do the work to drive to the ranch to buy some meat or pay the extra $3 a pound to order it online from a farm that's doing it the right way. Like, we're just so addicted to our comfort and our entitlement that food should be cheap. And people always say, like, can we make regenerative agriculture as cheap as food is now if we scale it like really big. And I'm always like, no, this is food scaled really big and really cheap, and everybody's sick. And it's completely subsidized between taxpayer funding, SNAP benefits, and we're paying for it 4 times over. We're paying for farm subsidies, we're paying for SNAP benefits, we're paying for Medicare and Medi-Cal.
Yeah, that's a new one, Medi-Cal. That's a new one.
The California one, but Medicaid. And then we're also, normal people are paying for it at the grocery store, and we're all sick. Like, we have gotten so efficient. There was an article the other day. It said Brazil is about to overtake us as the most efficient farming country in the world. And I was literally like, let them. Like, we have our largest subsidies are in farming. It's the most socialized system in the whole country. And still 85% of farmers are working full-time jobs off farm. And we're all giving our labor for free to grow food. People are like, I didn't get my break at the 3.5 hour mark. And I'm like, yeah, I haven't had a day off ever. And so I'm not like concerned about your 3.5 hour mark. And so at the way we are, how human minds think, they're not even like willing to go to the farmer's market. They're not even willing to do a little bit of interest in trying. So that's ultimately we are the problem because we're so apathetic. But maybe we're so apathetic because we're filled with estrogen and we're not motivated. Like, maybe that like tomorrow, Blanche, if they had discovered some new land, but no electricity worked there, no internet worked there, nothing, but it was going to be developed, but you had to take a wagon, like the olden days, a horse and a wagon as the only way you could get to this land, but you could have the free land, and the future was bright over there. How many men do you know that would like get on a wagon with a horse? Like, we are not.
Hold on, the land is free. It's mine.
Yeah, it's free.
Oh, it's a no-brainer. Hold on, I get the land free and clear. It's my land.
That's what it was 100 years ago. You went west, you could get the land. That's what people, and 40, 50, what percentage of people died on the Oregon Trail? Thousands of them. But I'm going to tell you, do we have people that are willing to do that anymore? No. People don't even want to, they come to my restaurant or they come to my farm store and they're like, giving me a dissertation on why would I be so far out in the country. And I'm like, I'm so sorry, the inconvenience that you had to drive on a dirt road to come here.
But you have a farm though. What farms are in the city? Like, what are they talking about?
I don't know, but they were mad, like, to pave the road into my ranch, that bumpy, the dirt road from the first part, to pave that. I've paved the roads. They weren't paved when you were here, but inside the ranch, we paved the roads. But the road that like goes through my neighbor's property, it's $200,000 to pave it. I don't have the money, and people will be like, it was very inconvenient. Like, I'm so sorry. And meanwhile, I'm like running around working 2 jobs and trying to run a farm and have a restaurant and 4 young children. So we're not the people we used to be when we had to wash our clothes in the sink and bake bread. We can't even like be like, you know what? I am going to spend $3 more a pound on my meat, so it doesn't have any hormones in it. We can't even get people to do that. But ultimately, the way to drive this change is the voting with our dollars. The world looks the way it looks because we all order from Amazon. We love free shipping more than we hate Amazon. Everybody's like, we're being spied on, and myself included. And then it's like, well, what do you got to do? You got to get rid of your phone. Well, how am I going to live without my phone? And myself included. Like, I'm addicted just like everybody else. But I would say that in other ways, I'm very motivated. But yeah, I'm addicted. We're all so apathetic. But right now, overnight, this would change if everybody stopped buying feedlot meat. Nobody bought meat at Costco.
And feedlot meat is just the stuff that's packaged in the store?
It means it's wet. So let's say my neighbor, for example, he has 40 head of cattle. They have 40 babies every year. At 9 months, he sells those babies and they go into a feedlot and they get those things in their ears, the hormones, they get fed a lot of food. And then somewhere around 1 year to 18 months, they get harvested. And that is the majority of the meat that you eat are coming from what we would call the consolidated feedlot system. So they buy the meat from all different small farms, medium farms, large farms, and they feed them out. They make them big and fat, and they harvest them. And that is all meat that doesn't say grass-fed, grass-finished, or say organic, or you bought it from somebody that you know.
So they purchased actual cows from all these farms, and then they use them just to grow them for meat.
Yeah, they get, so like my neighbor has 40 mama cows. It's called a cow calf operation. So, and he'll get 40 babies will get born. And then at 9 months, they're going to wean those babies off the mamas because the mamas are about to have their next babies. And they sell those at the sale barn or through a contract with and then they get put it into the feedlot system. Then the feedlot system will feed them out for 3 to 6 months, intensive feeding, just like as much food as you can get into them as possible. And then they kill them. So they have this nice life on a field with their mama, and then feed, and then we eat them.
So it's kind of like a sped up, kind of like a utopia type of life. You know, you spend your former years with your mother, then you get to just gorge yourself, and then you just
gorge yourself, and then you die.
And it's over.
Yes, gorge yourselves knee high in feces.
What?
Go look at some videos of feedlots. It's just like feces, like just as much feces as you can see. Have you ever driven on the 5 and it like just smells for miles?
Yeah.
These cows are just up to their knees in. That's a consolidated feedlot system right there.
Wow.
And that's feeding into a packing house. They pack it, and then you go buy that at the store. So the thing is, if I could tell everybody, like it matters. You got to buy food from your local farmer, and you got to buy organic if you buy it at the grocery store. And I know that's annoying and it's more money, but I mean, you're not even for sure that you're not getting the chemicals for organic, but you're less.
Well, I'll say this, you know, I buy organic, and I'll say this, organic. So let's say organic fruit, for instance, or organic anything. It doesn't last as long as non-organic. If you set out an organic item next to a non-organic item, I guarantee the organic item is going to not last very long. It's not. I know there's a difference. I don't know how much. It is a difference, though.
Yeah, and the reason that is because the organic item is not allowed to have certain chemicals and waxes sprayed on it that prevents it. I mean, just think about like, we're spraying things. I mean, have you ever seen those things where they put the white bread out and it never gets hard? Remember when you were a kid and bread got hard if you left it out? This woman called me the other day and she's like, I got a loaf of bread at your place and it is rock hard. And I was like, when did you buy it? She was like, 7 days ago. And I was like, how did you keep it? In the fridge or in a bag? And she was like, it was just on my counter. Yeah, there's no preservatives. It's just organic bread. Sorry, for sure. It's hard as a rock. And she's like, well, can I get a refund? I'm like, I'll give you another loaf of bread.
You wanted a refund?
Yes, because her bread got hard. But bread gets hard. Like I'm old enough to remember that all bread used to get hard. This bread that we have that now never gets hard is weird.
I don't buy. Hold up,
there's something that they use from human hair in bread that makes it soft. Anyways, conspiracy things. But back to the cows. I do think you need to buy from local farmers. You should know where your meat comes from. I know it's hard, but we have to do it. That's my Epoch Times article. Big props to Epoch Times for publishing this. This was like, it's a big deal, and they did not shy away. And I have given them a little bit of a hard time in the past from shying away from stuff. I write a column for them every day, and I do get articles rejected for being too far down the conspiracy rabbit hole, and they fact checked everything, and they literally did publish it, and I just want to give them props for that.
So you can catch this article on the Epoch Times.
I'm gonna
put it up.
on Acres USA.
This is a Why Are Steers Lactating on the Epoch Times by Mollie Engelhart, and this one is when a steer produces milk, farmers should pay attention. This is on Acres USA.
This one's not behind a paywall, just for the record.
So you can read this one for free, and I like that this is the irony of a black cow, staring out, kind of like a black sheep, outcast black cow. The transgender cow
is you transgender cow.
Yeah. But hold on, sorry. Yeah, so Mollie, so the recommendations are, at the least we can do is go to our local farmers market, and buy organic. It's just the bare minimum we should be doing.
Bare minimum we need to do. And if you don't have money to buy everything organic, you gotta start with grain, because all the bread, all the rice, and beans, all the lentils, that's all being sprayed with Roundup in order to dry it fast to harvest it. And there's been no studies. The EPA just changed the rules based on an industry request. And so that's happening. It's called desiccation. I don't know if you'll know this, that it's happening, but it is happening for sure.
And we can also agree that most of the food that people buy, they don't actually need. It's a lot of junk food that people buy. So if you cut down on the junk food, all those, the juice, the snacks and all that stuff, you can afford to buy organic. Organic is not that expensive. It's no more expensive than all those cookies and treats and snacks you're eating. So you can get
also I don't know where people live at, but there's Azure Standard in almost every city across America and in rural areas. And Azure Standard is an organic and natural food co-op. And basically you make your order, and then the order is going to come in a semi truck to like a Walmart near your house or whatever. And all the community is going to come and gather and pick up their food. And you'll meet so many cool people that are also committed to organic eating. And it's a really awesome way. I met the owner in Washington, D.C. at a food conference earlier this year. And I said, it's an awesome business that you have. Like, you're doing good work. And he's like a Christian with 10 children. And he started as an on-farm business of selling his own grain. And it grew into this huge, like, Costco style thing. And Azure I told him the best thing about what you're doing, besides getting people this healthy food, is people are finding their people, because they're meeting up and they're finding their other people. My Azure driver is actually a black guy from Atlanta, and every time he comes, he's like, "This is so great." He's like, "I can't believe there's people living like this." That's what he always says when he comes out, and he always orders the pork sandwich with the barbecue sauce. Hold the cabbage, and he's just like always going off about how amazing this is, and that he says we're the best Azure drop because it's on he calls it a prepper compound. I don't think I live on a prepper compound, but that's how he views it.
Oh, like doomsday prepper.
Yeah. But I recommend it's AZURE, Azure Standard, and I recommend that you find that.
AZURE.
Azure Standard. And you order it, and it's not like you have to deal with the money with the people there. You just pay with your card, and then everything has your name on it when you get there, and it will be like, Blanchard got organic yogurt, Blanchard got organic beans, and everybody unloads the truck, and they just call out each other's name, and you just put it in your car and you go away. But it's super cool, and it's cheaper because they're not paying for warehouses and all this stuff. And you could buy just like 3 sweet potatoes, or you could buy 50-pound boxes of sweet potatoes, depending on the size of your family and everything. So you don't have to buy bulk, even though it is a bulk thing.
And they can, one quick thing. So they can also buy from Sovereignty Ranch, right? If they want to buy.
Yeah, you can go to sovereigntyranch.com, and we can send you bread or tortillas or meat. You can do that. And you guys are in Georgia. So I would go to Will Harris's. I believe in local. So you have the godfather of regenerative agriculture, Will Harris. I spoke to him about this earlier today. They have not used hormones in 22 years. And his plant manager, he went right down to his plant manager, and they have never seen a lactating cow or steer coming through their feed system. They're doing 100 head of cattle a day. They do pork, chicken, rabbit, and beef. And so White Oak Pastures, I would definitely, they're in Georgia. And I think there's like some big new like food mall thing happening. I don't know. I forget what the name of it. But they're going to have a store in Atlanta. It's opening later this year.
Okay.
If you're in Atlanta. But I recommend order from me if you're in Texas. But I want people to order. I don't want to be the biggest conglomerate. I want to feed my community, and I want farmers all across this country to have the opportunity to feed their community. What does that say? So what about organic beans, etc. at Sprouts or Whole Food? So organic should not have any glyphosate on it, but you know, every year there's watch groups, and so you just want to make sure, like, keep attention on these glyphosate watch groups, like, oh, because there's definitely certain kinds of companies that are over and over again getting caught with high levels of chemicals that are not supposed to be in organic foods. But organic foods are randomly tested, and they do have less chemicals in them. So I think it's fine to buy them, but always wash your beans, always wash your rice. Obviously you can't wash wheat when you're making bread and stuff. And that's why beer has so much Roundup in it, because it's water soluble. And when you make beer, you're boiling the grain, and then the Roundup goes into the beer. And then that's why people have big bellies. It's partially from the beer. But if you look 20 years ago, there was people drinking a lot of beer, and you'll notice that they didn't have these huge beer guts. That's like a more new thing. And it's because we're killing all the microbiology in our gut with all the Roundup in the beer.
Okay, so then we have another question. Mollie, what about South Carolina?
I'm not too sure about what specific farms are in South Carolina, but I know that there is. I'm going to be at Virginia. I'm going to be in at Joel Salatin's farm, Polyface Farms in Virginia coming up. That's a great place. They do mail order as well. I mean, you got to just look in your area. There's so many great people doing great things, and talk to the farmers. And I'm telling you, if people are like, you're like, I want to come see the farm, you don't even have to go see the farm. I always tell people, you don't have to go. Just ask if you can go see the farm. And if they're like, hemming and hawing, then don't buy from them. And if they're like, come out anytime, this is our address, then buy for them, because you know they're not trying to trick you. That's the best trick. Just say, can I come visit the farm?
So you should be able to order from this website, right?
Yes. And you should come visit us if you're ever in Texas. We have a restaurant. We have 40 beds of hospitality, farm tour, kids playhouse, bounce house, everything. Come visit us. And you can buy that shirt that Blanche is wearing right now. I know he did not sell it very good. You'll get beat up if you're black and you wear it. You'll get beat up if you're white and you're wearing it.
I was joking, y'all. Ain't nobody gonna bother you wearing this shirt. They're gonna be confused by the shirt. It's really gonna be a conversation starter. What does that mean?
It is a conversation starter every time I wear it. And I was telling him my 11-year-old son wore it into like a kind of mostly black neighborhood in San Antonio the other day. And he was like, boy, what does that shirt mean? And my son's like, oh, because raw milk is illegal in a lot of states, and it's a privilege, and it's white, and it's a joke. And the guy was like, okay, son. I was like, oh, mama bear, like ready to step in. My 11-year-old handled it fine.
Have you heard of Chosen Foods and Primal Kitchen?
Yeah, they both just got caught faking olive oil, and faking avocado oil. And I'm going to tell you this. I can pull the receipts on this. I wrote an article for Epoch Times. I was like, and I've been talking about this. Where did all the avocados? I don't trust it. I literally wrote an article, and I didn't call out any brands, but I was like, I go to Costco, and now there's an entire aisle that's avocado oil. And it was also the Sete chips, the Mexican company that got bought by Pepsi, failed that test too. And some other companies, that Primal Kitchen.
No, they failed the test.
Yes. Look, he's upset. I know, it's so disappointing.
Yeah, they had some great. They had some great chips. My
They
goodness.
do, but they're sneaking in seed oils. So, but I was an avocado farmer. I don't know if y'all know this. I don't know how many people have heard me talk with. I've been on Blanche's thing a lot of times, even back before he had YouTube, and we would do IG lives together. So I don't know how many people know that I used to be an avocado farmer. He even came to my avocado farm in California. And so I was wondering, avocados are like a pretty scarce resource. How do you just scale up avocado oil from something that was like a niche market to like every row of Costco in every city across America? Like that was some major scaling. And I asked AI like how, and it gave me a story, and I was like, okay, it's possible. Their story was plausible, like all the small avocados and the ones that get thrown away. Okay, plausible, but kind of didn't believe it. And now I was like, it just doesn't seem like the volume of avocado oil is out there to cover all of these things.
Yeah.
And really, I was right. So, yes, I was ahead of my time on that one as well. And thank you for reminding me, Blanche, because I want to write an article and remind people that I already had written an article about that and I was correct.
That was actually similar to students that said they got caught. Baby for Life says, is this the same for poultry, pork, and other animal meat?
Well, chicken, we've long known that they're giving hormones to chickens to make them grow breast big. I would say pork is, I will answer this Muslim question in a second. I would say pork has all types of other problems. I don't know about if they're doing those tags. I raise pasture pork, but pasture pork, if you eat pork is the easiest animal for farmers to get into. Like if you're, besides chicken, I guess, if you're a first time farmer, you can buy one mama pig and one papa pig for like $100 each. And then you're going to get 16 babies. And then in 9 months, you will have like a lot of meat, right? If you raise up all those 16 babies. So it's a low entry for farmers. And so I never talk shit on pork. Like I know a lot of people do and don't, and some people do eat it and some people don't. And some say it's made clean and some people don't. I don't get into that. I think that pork, like all animals, need to be treated with dignity, and the commercial pork industry is terrible and animals are not treated with dignity. But people like myself, Joel Salatin, Will Harris, are growing amazing pastured pork, and they're running around, and you can look on my Instagram or the Sovereignty Ranch Instagram and see the pigs and how great their lives are. So again, you don't want to buy meat unless you know who's growing it. That's just like the reality. It's just, you want to know where your meat comes from. And I know that's a pain in the tushy, but it's gotta be. How do I feel about the Muslims taking Texas? I think that we are being asked to divide over and over and over and over again. And I think I think the liberals right now are like calling me, what do you think about ICE and they're murdering people and da 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 da. And that's what they're being fed. And they're being fed that. And the Muslims are what we're being fed. Conservatives are being fed. And it's all to push the agenda of the flock cameras, the mass surveillance, the police state. And so liberals are being told, like, we need more body cams. They're murdering Black people, and they're deporting the guy selling watermelons on the corner. My favorite watermelon salesman is being tackled by the ICE, and we need more cameras to catch this. And the conservatives are being told Muslims are taking over and illegal immigrants are raping your children. And all of it is all so we fight each other and we don't look up. I would say obviously there's a lot of Muslims in Texas. I mean, there's halal meat at Costco, and it's definitely not for the Texans. I'm going to tell you that. But again, we are all being poisoned at mass. whether you're undocumented, you're Muslim, you're black, you're white, we are being poisoned at mass. We are 100, like all of our grain. Before I even brought up this thing with the cows, me and Blanche had an hour conversation about them spraying Roundup on the bread, on all the bread, the Cheerios, like everything you're feeding your children is being sprayed with a chemical that started as an antibiotic, then started being used as a drain cleaner, and then as a weed killer, and now as a desiccant. Is being sprayed directly on our food. There is an attack on humanity that is so big, and they don't want us to look up. What the two things that we need to be paying attention to is not Muslims, is not ICE, it is our food system and the surveillance state. Those two things are going to have us be in prison, be slaves in the next 5 years if we don't rise up. And so data centers, flock cameras, your food system, that is what, and even notice all these like MAGA influencers all of a sudden now talking about flock cameras, but are they talking about Axos? Because Axos is BlackRock and Vanguard and Trump and all of them invested in that. This no surveillance. And you want to know something? I just posted yesterday about this. New York Times wrote an article that said Bandera, Texas, that's my town, and Austin, Bandera went 97% for Trump. And Austin, which went, I'm sure, at least 50% for Kamala, both banned flock cameras in our towns. And so this is an issue that is going across, but what they want is us fighting with each other. So they take the most extreme things, like these Muslims are taking over the city, and okay, yeah, I don't want Sharia law. I'm not down. I'm not into it. But I'm also like, they're going to take away our freedom of religion. You guys can't see that all this anti-Muslim stuff only ends in getting rid of freedom of religion. It ends with Noahide laws. Like, we got to see the end game. And this might be like, they maybe didn't want this much from me. But I'm going to say that surveillance state and food are 100% of all of humanity's interest needs to be focused on stopping the data centers, we are building our own prisons. That's what's happening. You are not going to be able to drive far from your house. We already know this because Ford and all of the car companies are filing for the patents for restricted movement. The kill switches. I'll just show you how the whole white, red, blue is a psyop. I'm going to tell you right now. The kill switch. If you were a liberal, the kill switch in your car, freedom of movement, equity, everybody should be able to go wherever they want, blah, 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 blah. You would want the government to not be able to turn down your car, turn off your car. And if you're a conservative like I am, you'll be like, property rights? Like, no, you don't get to turn off my car or tell me whether I can drive my car because I'm too emotionally whatever. No, my property rights, my car, I paid for it. It's not an extension of the police force. It is my property. Or you'd be like, freedom of movement. Like, I'm a free American citizen. I can go everywhere I want. That's what you would be if you're conservative. Now, how come we have had bipartisan support for kill switches in our car every single time it's come up? And only Thomas Massie and a few others have been against it because it's a psyop. They are building our prison and they are feeding us slop. And we are going to be in prison with fed slop if we don't stop. And apparently it's transgender fed slop cows.
You know, I thought about today, I said, America's waging war against, let's just say America's at war with Iran. I said, but simultaneously, they're telling you that America's being taken over by the same Muslims. I'm like, so think about it. I said, we're overseas fighting, but then they're all coming over here. So I said, so what's going to be the end result? So I said, think about the Middle East has been cured of radical Islam, but all the Western countries have all the Muslims in government. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Go ahead.
Well, we went to spread democracy through the Middle East, and all we did is export their values. And it's not like a judgment on their values. I'm just saying, if you grew up in the Middle East as Muslim, your values are different than American values. And that is also true for my husband. I just said my husband doesn't want me fighting this fight about the cows. Like my husband's like, keep your head down and don't poke the bear. That's the Mexican culture, because the cartels run stuff and open corruption in the government. And if you don't have money to pay off the government and you don't want to get killed by the cartels, you just keep your head down and mind your business. So there's a whole country where the culture is keep your head down and mind your business. And I'm giving this example because I don't want people to say, oh, you're being racist or whatever towards Muslim countries. I'm saying culturally, there is a fire in Americans, a belief that we deserve to be free, or at least there was. And that is being eroded. And they eroded it in multiple different sections of our culture in different ways. And Blanche one time said to me, the white redneck is the last great hope for America, because you look to the left and you look to the right, and they're the only ones that are going to be willing to fight. And I thought he was so stupid when he said that. It was a ridiculous thing to say. Like, and I don't know if it's just the redneck, but it's culturally, Black people are not going to want to fight for America because they've been told that America hates them. And if they were told that they were like 80% already here and indigenous, that would be a different vibe than you were dragged here and enslaved here.
Right.
That's a different thing. So you were dragged here, you were enslaved here, it was built on your backs and you got nothing out of it, is the story that's been sold. And so then you're not going to get Black people wanting to fight for freedom, for America, for the culture. And then you have a huge Latino population that immigrated here to make money and go home and then maybe stayed, but their context is extractive, and not in a negative way, but like, come make money for my family, take care of my own, my circle, and don't worry about the government, don't worry about anything out there, like just protect my own. And that's cultural. It's not a judgment, but there's much less uprisings, and most of the uprisings that happen in other countries, we have been manipulating them with the CIA in order to make the uprising. And probably we're being manipulated here to have the uprising, is I'm starting to think, because we uprised for George Floyd, but the Epstein files, we didn't uprise at all. I can't seem to get this cow story to go viral. And so we only uprise for what we are told we should be emotionally beholden to. And then we went around the world and bombed Muslims and created all of these refugees that then came here. We did that. Like and I don't mean me or you, but I mean America did this. And we didn't export American values. We imported values from all around the world. And again, we're chasing efficiency, we're chasing money, we're chasing oil. All of it is our doing. And the border crisis could be solved overnight. I could solve it. Someone go give me a pen and let me make some rules, and I tell you I will solve it tomorrow. And nobody wants it solved. Both sides are the same, and the immigration issue is used to divide us. Everything is used to divide us so we don't look up. But right now, I think there's only two things that we need to be concerned about: our food system and the prison that's being built around us.
Yeah, because you said something that was profound earlier. You talked about, once you talk about one religion and you say this religion is bad, it's not going to stop with one religion. And it never, and I wish people would understand this, not how the world works. And if you ever look at a court case, when they have court cases, they always cite previous court cases to justify the stance they're taking in this particular case. It's always, and so it's the same thing with everything else. To justify religious persecution, you have to cite something that you did it before. So if you condemn a religion and say that's bad, then it opens the floodgates for all religions to be condemned. And I'm telling you now, you may not believe it, but if you don't think that the number one religion everybody wants to go after is Christianity, you're crazy. That's the number one religion.
Yes, and I'm going to tell you, I was actually talking to my friend Liam yesterday, and Liam, I've told you a little bit about Liam, but in my past, but I've known Liam since, I don't know, we were 3 or 5, like our whole lives. And Liam always jokes that he wishes he could identify as a Black man because then people would have more compassion for his 2 times in prison and his 2 baby mamas and all
Be a
of this,
hero. You'd be a hero, right?
right? And so, but Liam has had plenty of problems in his lifetime with the law, with drugs, with alcohol. But I'm going to tell you that he found Muslim religion, Allah, in prison amongst all elder Black men. And I would say that their tutelage created a better Liam. And I was talking to him yesterday, and he was like, look, foundationally, conservative Muslims that are American Muslims and conservative Christians want the same things. They don't want abortion. They want families. They want fathers in the home. They want, and he goes, he was joking. He said, if my prison was going to vote, Trump would have won by, if the men in my prison could have voted, it would have been 93% for Trump. And I don't know if that's true or not, but he's saying that older Black Muslim men that took him under his wing in prison want the same thing that Christians want. And so he's like, I don't think that we should just throw everything into one pot and say it's bad. And I think that between me and you and whoever's watching, I think that a lot of parts of, we have more in common with Christians have more in common with some religions than we do with others. And I think we have to be honest about that. And I think that we don't want to throw out the baby with the bathwater because there is values that are aligned. And I think they're coming for religious freedom. And so we don't want to start blocking any religious freedoms at all.
Yeah, so I think the issue is, and again, I'm gonna say this again, the complaint is that the Muslims are taking over America. It doesn't make any sense to me, because if you're willing to bomb Muslim countries that you believe are bad, if you're willing to bomb them, why are you allowing the same Islamic extremists to come here and be in government? It doesn't make any sense to me. Like, why are you fighting thousands of miles away, but you're not fighting here? It just seems like it's a setup to me. It doesn't make any sense. Like,
what about Afghanistan? We were fighting, all these people died. We were fighting and fighting and fighting. And then we just left, and the people we were fighting became the government, and now they're a sovereign state, and we have to like deal with them like were they terrorists or are they a sovereign state? Like, I don't understand.
Well, I talked about this so-called regime change, and I talked about how do you ethically have a regime change. But honestly, I don't think this is about a religion per se. I think it's just about religious persecution. And again, I'm going to say this again. Once you set a precedent, it justifies it for everybody. So I'm just telling y'all, you've never seen, it's like 9/11. The airports, how we travel, has never gone back to normal. Think about what I'm telling you. Since 9/11, that was one event. It's never going back to normal, and it never is. Once you set a precedent, they don't go backwards. So in other words, when the government gets more power, it never relinquishes power. And so you need to be mindful of this, to know there's going to have to be a huge separation between you saying that this is bad and what you have is good. Because depending on who's looking at it, it's going to be bad or good, and who determines that. And Mollie talked about earlier, even with your car. Imagine I post something on social media, I post them on TikTok, and it gets back to Ford or Chevrolet or Chrysler, whoever, and they don't agree with it. So I can't start my car up the next morning.
And we think it's not going to happen, but people couldn't get their own money out of their own bank account. People couldn't process credit cards with Square because they said things about COVID. We know these are real things that have happened. So I think we need to learn our lesson from COVID, that was real. That I have a friend who had a shop. She sold things to women, like organic stuff, and Eco Chic, it was called. And she said on Facebook, whether you agree with her or not, she said, why raise children without CBD? I don't even know the context in which she said it, but she said, I could raise children without CBD, but why would I? Now, I don't know what the context was, but they felt like she was promoting natural healing. I don't know. And they cut off, this was on Facebook. It was not on, and then Square cut off her processing. She couldn't make payroll. She had $37,000 stuck in there, and she had to get a lawyer to get her own money out. She couldn't access her payroll. She couldn't access her, what is it called? Inventory system, any of it. That's crazy because she said that she wouldn't want to raise kids without CBD. That's like her business. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you all, they showed us during COVID what they're capable of. So we saw in 2020 and 2021, I lost my Chase accounts. And when I called and asked them, they said, oh, the computer told us to do it. That's a literal what they told me. The computer told us to do it. And my Chase account was linked to my Instagram account. And somebody told me it's because of your content. And I said, no way. But when I talked to the bank branch and the corporate head office, and it was just, I don't know. So I'm just telling you all that once you set a precedent of saying that this person can't do this or that person can't do that, I'm telling you, they're going to use it against you eventually, because eventually you're going to say something they don't like. This is how it is.
And that's what I tried to explain to people that were mad at me during COVID. I'm actually fighting for your freedom. You may not know it, but I'm fighting for you to be free. Because right now you think I'm the dumb one that doesn't want to get the vaccine. But someday you're going to think I'm the dumb one and you're going to want to do something, and you should not be told what to do with your body.
Yeah, man, it's just, I remember when they came out and said, hold on. I remember at the Charlie Kirk Memorial, they were bragging about how that was the largest geo-tracking event in history. And I'm like, why are y'all geo-tracking people at a supposed funeral? That doesn't make any sense. Like, and people just think it's nothing. I'm like, dude, the city next to me, Marietta, I'm in Smyrna, but Marietta, they're fighting right now because people don't want data centers in Marietta. And they're fighting about this. And I'm trying to tell people, what do you think the data center is going to be used for? Honestly, what do you think they're going to use it for? Compete with China?
Don't believe the hype.
China just said, we don't have no more OnlyFans in China. They said it causes social decay. So when they say competing with China, why aren't they competing with China in that? Why are they picking the data centers? And again, what's going to be in the data centers? Whose data? What data? Nobody can answer that. What's going to be in data centers?
And look at how conservatives are positioning themselves. And just to be clear, I am conservative. I am pro-life. I'm pro-marriage. I am pro-gun. I am pro-God. But conservatives out there are I've watched answers like people are asking about the data centers, and I've seen politicians say, well, don't use Facebook and take pictures on your phone if you don't want there to be data centers. I just heard someone say this weekend at a conservative convention that it is our moral responsibility to light up these data centers as fast as possible to stand against China and for the freedom of America and all people's rights across the world. And everybody clapped. And I was like, not clapping and confused, like literally confused. Like, what are you talking about? But this is the world that we live in. They will tell us whatever everything is just trying to get us to agree, because the truth is there's more of us than there is of them, but we are in the last phases of them imprisoning us, and we need to stand up. The George Lucas.
Is it what's his first film?
Terminator? I don't know.
No, he ain't do Oh no, I think it's THX 1138.
That's his first film.
Yeah, I think it's THX 1138. What is that about?
I don't know, but I bet AI knows.
Oh, let me see. What is?
Do you ever
Listen,
it's weird that AI will never admit when it's wrong. Like humans have programmed it. Why don't they just program it to admit when it's wrong? Have you ever been in a thing where it's like trying to tell you why it can't give you the response, and then you're like, literally, it just got confused. It's having a hallucination or whatever. It never just says like, I made a mistake. I apologize. It's always
here goes the premise. A worker named THX1138. Okay, so set in a sterile underground future where people are stripped of names and forced to take emotion suppressing drugs, it follows a worker named THX1138 who stops his medication, falls in love, and tries to escape his totalitarian society.
okay, great.
And again, people, I want to remind you, the same people telling you the data centers are good are the same people that said the vaccines were good.
Yeah.
The same people. The same people telling you to trust this told you to trust the science. It's the same people. So I'm just telling you all, they were totally wrong with COVID. 100% wrong. Now we got data centers. You want me to trust them? What does it say? Fool me once.
Yeah, it's like, have you seen that Charlie Kirk clip where he's like, oh, we weren't right in Iraq. We weren't right in Afghanistan. We weren't right in Syria. We weren't right, but we're going to be right in Iran. Like, no, obviously you cannot fool me again. And they didn't fool me last time. Thank the Lord. But I think it's all so much deeper than we possibly could know what they're trying to do to humanity. And if you were in charge of the world and you just saw us all as, it basically is Skynet. I keep asking, hasn't anybody seen the Terminator movies? Like, why nobody watched them or didn't get the premise or what? Like,
listen, Molly, I just put this in the video today. Before 2020, The Matrix was a reference to everything conspiracy, to everything that was a site. Like The Matrix, what people saying, we living in the Matrix, this is all fake, they're doing this. After 2020, nobody mentions The Matrix. It's not a point of reference anymore. Skynet literally AI taking over, literally. They don't mention it. So I'm like, we have real life events going on that point to these movies, and people are not even talking about them. You know why, Molly? Because now it's real. It's real. So now it's real. They know it's a consequence. They know it's a consequence to speak the truth. People know this now. 2020 taught you that. People lost their job, livelihood, business, family. People lost a lot. So people are shell shocked. They already know. If I tell the truth, there's going to be consequences. That's what we are right now in society.
Yeah, that is. I have about 5 more minutes. I got to go put my kids to bed. So anybody have any last questions, or do you have any last questions about this crazy cow situation? My request is that everybody go find those things on Instagram, repost them, post those articles on X. I want to get this out there before the big packing houses and the big meat companies try to rein the story in. When I scraped the internet to see if this has ever been written about before, I found one article in 2020. I only could find the thumbnail. When I went to it, the article had been taken down. So I want to get this widely spread. So please put it on your X feed, your Facebook, your Instagram, post the articles, repost the things on Instagram. I would really appreciate it. You don't have to tag me. My goal is that people know the story. I don't need to be tagged, but if you do want me to weigh in on what people are saying or anything, you're welcome to tag me. I'm Talk to Mollie everywhere. Talk to, and then Mollie with an IE.
All right, real quick. Thank you, Kelvin, for the super sticker. Carmel, do you think the data centers are meant to siphon the water and use it for the top 1% and leave us here looking like District 13 in Hunger Games? I mean, it's possible.
I don't know. I have been seeing a lot of information about how data centers don't actually need the water. And there's been a play for water for a long time. I saw it in California. All these vineyards were being bought up that had water rights. There's definitely something suspicious happening with the water. I'm going to tell you, I don't trust the 1,000-year flood twice in a row in the same county. I live in Kerr County, Texas. You remember all the girls died last year. We've gotten very little coverage on this flood that happened this year because only one person died. But this flood was actually worse than last year's flood. People that rebuilt their houses outside of the 1,000-year flood zone then got flooded in their brand new house. Again, like this is, I don't trust whatever's going on with the water. And I do believe that the water is the next big battleground. And that's why I'm saying food and water and these data centers and surveillance needs to be where we all come together. We, the people, there's more of us than there is of them, but we have to be willing to be a little uncomfortable, and we have to speak the truth, and we have to come together. And those are the soft skills that are going to be necessary for the revolution that none of us have, because we all live by ourselves in our own little box with our own little idiosyncrasies, and we never have to compromise and we never have to work together. And that is, and that is a leftist, like, God, like everybody, oh, you deserve it. Your feelings, everything matters. Like, it doesn't matter. Your feelings don't matter. Like, none of it matters. Like, we have to be able to work together, and we've stopped having those skills. But yes, water is going to be part of this next big play.
And I remember Kamala said in one of those meetings, and she was speaking, and she said, for years we fought over oil. She said, but pretty soon we're going to be fighting over water. And I thought that was just the oddest thing for her to say, but she probably read it somewhere and couldn't think of nothing else to say and just blurted it out. But anyway, thank you, Carl. And then Facebook put me in Facebook jail for 30 days for saying natural born women. It sounds about right. Hey, listen, you all, listen real quick before she goes. How these social media companies operate is how society's going to be in the future. I'm just telling you all how they do this censoring and taking down pages and not explaining themselves and saying you violated this. I'm telling you now, this is going to be the future. So I'm just telling you all that everything they're doing to get your approval on, they are eventually going to use it against you. This is how it works, because
I'm demonetized on Instagram, which is where I have my largest following still to this day, because I posted a picture of my kids sitting by the pool eating pizza. Now, nobody was naked. No, some of them were in bathing suits. I got violated for having inappropriate content with children. And and that is something you cannot get out of, the inappropriate content with children. Now, we literally have people like disappearing children, doing all types of crazy things. I post a completely normal, loving mother photo of her kids by the pool years ago. And I am demonetized. And like, supposedly it went away, but literally every time I try to do something to be monetized, I get to the last thing and it just,
yep, it'll just toggle forever. Yep.
Toggle forever.
Lobby for Cash asks, if AI works now, why would they need more data centers for AI?
They don't need it for AI. They need it so that they can track everywhere we go, everything we're doing. Think about these flock cameras. Trump did this. There was no flock cameras. 2024 is when flock cameras blew up. And Axos, I know we shouldn't just say, we should say, what is it? Automatic license reader cameras. But people know flock as like how we call tissues instead of, Kleenex or whatever. But anyways, automatic license plate reader cameras, they are going to be storing every bit of this data. Ford has applied for patents to listen to you in your car and then use that information to market to you. So they need, if they're listening to us, there's all these, they're listening to you inside your house with your, if you have those, I don't have this kind of thing for my air conditioner. I just have like an old school one. I switched them out, but they're listening to you on your, the digital, not like the old school digital ones, but like the new, like home, you know what I'm talking about, for put the temperature. So those are listening. They found out that those are listening to you. We know that Siri is listening to you. We've seen weird things where Siri's like talking in the middle of the night. They are asleep. Like weird things that are going on. And we know it. We know that they are trying. So it's going to be, your car will not turn on if you are not compliant. You are going to be listened to everywhere you are, and that is going to be used to market back to you. But also, it's going to be, they're going to start like saying how you parent. Okay, I co-slept with my kids for a long time. Like that, I breastfed my kids, they slept in the bed. I mean, someone's going to say like after 2 years old, it's inappropriate to sleep in the same bed with your kids. And then all of a sudden that they're going to be listening, tell you, I mean, they are going to be in every single part of our lives, things that should not be their things. And right now, you guys might not realize it, but 20 years ago, you could go buy meat from a farmer. You could go buy milk from a farmer 30 years ago. The government right now is between you and your farmer in every bite of food. And we are sicker than we've ever been. And they say that they're doing it for our safety. They say that they're putting the flock cameras for our safety. They said to take the vaccines for our safety. Every time they tell you it's for your safety, I promise you it is to take away your freedoms. They want to take away your guns for your safety. You don't need an AR-15 for your safety. It is never about your safety. It's always about their control. And so that is really what we have to come down to, is that you are not promised a safe life. You are promised the pursuit of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That is the container that the government is meant to do. But they don't promise you that it's not dangerous to live where you live. They don't promise you that if you build your house shitty, that it's going to fall down. Like, we don't need building codes. Do you know that there is literally, like, if you go to Texas, like rural Texas, where there's no building codes, and then you go to California where there's like 1,000 building codes, it's not like more houses are burning down and people are just dying in houses that are falling down on them in Texas. Like, statistically, there's all of this regulations being put in, and it's very little of it is actually saving lives. I lost you, Blanche.
You can't hear me?
No, I mean, you just went into your head.
No. I'm reading I'm listening to you and trying to read these comments. I'm trying to do two things at one time. Repeat that last thing you just said.
It's everything for safety. It's none of it's for safety.
Oh, yeah,
Life,
yeah,
liberty,
okay,
and the pursuit of happiness. Like but we can't. We're not promised safety. Like, I should be able to go buy meat from a farmer, and if I get salmonella, like I get salmonella. Like this is they can't. You see these major outbreaks where tons of people die and nobody has to be accountable, but they're like not letting farmers sell to their neighbors because somebody might get sick. Ask me this. If you watch my husband harvest one hog on a stainless steel table with a knife on the patio outside the restaurant, or a guy in a slaughterhouse with like hundreds of cows a day, who's more likely to mix up some shit? I mean, literal, not like a swear word, but literal poop into your meat. The house that's doing
the slaughterhouse,
or my husband who's killing one animal with much care because he's going to eat it too. It's just obvious. It's not for our safety. It never has been. It's always to line their pockets, to be more efficient, and to keep us dumbed down and fighting with each other.
Carmel said Elon bought one of the biggest databases with human interactions to feed his robots. Stimulated student said, I'm gonna let you go. Ben Franklin said, he who trades freedom for safety deserves neither one.
That is true.
It's true.
Okay, well, I always say this when I come on any podcast or anybody's show. I just want you guys to remember, the psyop, the greatest psyop, is making you believe that you don't belong here, that you're a plague, a pestilence, that humanity is a problem. You are not. You are the keystone species. The world is better with you in it. And so I ask you to go out into the world every day and be the best cell in the body of Christ, the best cell in the body of nature, the best cell in the body of this earth that you can be. And if every one of us has that attitude, then we can win. And this is not just a battle for the physical world, but it's a spiritual battle. And we can't give up. Apathy is what they want of us. And so you belong here. God put you here and you have a purpose. And I just want you to be your purpose in this world.
Thank you so much, Mollie, for coming on today. Thank y'all for supporting and tuning in tonight. You know, we love you all, and thank you, Mollie. We got to have you back because you really bring us back down to reality because what she's talking about is the survival of the human species, not who you're going to vote for. Just so, and this is, and at the end of the day, the vote won't matter if you can't leave your house. I'm just going to say it like it won't matter.
And I was at Gun Owners of America last weekend speaking from the stage, and I said, you cannot let your guns be your pacifier. If you have all the guns in your house, but you can't leave your house and you can't grow any food and your kids got cancer at a young age and your wife can't reproduce and your daughter can't reproduce, like, what are you going to protect with your guns? This is not just, we can no longer be single issue voters. We can no longer just look at freedom as one angle. We have to come together, and it's food, it's water, and we have to stop the data centers, the flock cameras, and the prison that they're building around us. That needs to be everybody's focus.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Mollie, so much. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to go put my kids to bed a little bit late.
All right. Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right, y'all. Listen, you know, I love y'all. Hope y'all enjoyed the show. Hold on. Word Customs in 2012 during Hurricane Sandy, I made a comment about P, S, E, and G should go kaboom because they messed with our power, and I got a phone call minutes later about it. Wow, for real? That's crazy. I remember in 2020, I did a video in Kroger's and about how all the stuff was going in Kroger's, and Kroger actually responded. Kroger's their page responded to my video in 2020. It was crazy. But I just want to tell you all, thank you so much, Word Customs. I want to tell you all this though. That's all I want to tell you all. These people were telling us in 2020 the world was going to end if we didn't do this. And I told you it's going to happen. I said they're going to come back and tell you all that you all, not they made a mistake, you all made a mistake. What I'm telling you, it's the same people. It's the same playbook. It's the same script. It's what it is. These people talking about China and all this stuff to get you to get a data center. I'm telling you now, it is a set up. If they want data centers, it's because they want your data. They're not collecting data on nature and how the earth operates. They want your data. That's why they want data centers, to have an extensive data folder or file of everything about your life, what you like, what you don't like, what your ailments are, where you were born. They want your whole file ready to go. And I'm telling you now, it's not going to be good. Anyway, listen, I love y'all, and I will see y'all soon. Thank y'all so much.